Good evening and greetings from Kotak Securities. We're delighted to welcome you to Fund Managers League session powered by Private Client Group of Kotak Securities. Before we start the webinar, I'd like to introduce Akshay, who leads the product practice at PCG, to give you a small introduction about what Private Client Group is.
Thank you, Pratika, and thank you all for joining us. Most of you would know us, but for those of you who don't, I'll just take a couple of minutes before we start the much-awaited session by Mr. Gautam Shah. Just give me a minute so that I put on the presentation. So, as as a part of Conti's leading equities and wealth management setup, we do a balanced mix of a lot of exciting as well as conventional, or you may even call it boring stuff. To give you a perspective, just let me tell you some of the things, some of the boring things first. For example, in 2018, when the entire market was running, capture the additional spread on AA papers, chose the boring option of sitting back on AAA names and giving up on potential returns because we were not comfortable with the liquidity on the AA side. Now, when another example can be when people are pitching you double-digit assured returns on market-linked debentures, we stayed back with blue chip names offering lower returns but much higher comfort. So, if it makes sense on a risk-adjusted basis, we'll do all the boring mutual, direct mutual funds, the RBI bonds, sovereign gold bonds, tax freeze, and the likes. Uh, uh, and it's not that. So, on looking at the exciting stuff as well, on the other hand, we have an entire bouquet of well-researched stock portfolios, PMSs, AIFs, structured products. We have the SLBM opportunity and exclusive opportunities in the private as well as public market. Now, so there are numbers that are given on the slide that we manage, more than 2.6 lakh crores of AUM. We are the largest wealth managers in the country. Private Client Group is a part of Kotak Securities, which is fully owned subsidiary of the Kotak Bank. Now, Private Client Group it's a vertical which is dedicated to the needs of HNI. Now, talking about our proposition. So, uh, apart from our deep expertise into direct equity, backed by our unquestionable research prowess, we also help you protect and grow your wealth with well-diversified portfolio solutions and low-cost offerings like direct mutual funds. We also help you with your banking and credit needs, and we also have platforms like SLBM available with us. So in terms of direct offerings, as I was mentioning, we have equity baskets for long and short term. We have derivative strategies. We have done unlisted opportunities. So in the private as well as public space, we have options available. Apart from that, SLBM is something that a lot of you would not be aware of. So SLBM is a basically securities lending and borrowing mechanism that enables settlement of securities sold short. So SLBM basically enables lending of idle securities by the investor through the clearing house or clearing corporation of a stock exchange to earn some additional return on the same. Apart from that, there are arbitrage opportunities that you would be made aware of. There would be buybacks. There would be opportunities across which we would come to you with. Now, I'll just spend a minute to give you a glimpse of our investment process, which begins by identifying your needs and assessing your risk appetite. Once we have enough clarity on that, we always recommend you to diversify to the right asset allocation and find the adequate product fit for you. Once the portfolio is constructed, we ensure that there are regular updates and reviews on the same. On the asset allocation, you would have heard enough and more about not having all your eggs in one basket. So that is very something that we always recommend. In terms of equity offerings, so for those of you who are into trading, we have a very robust platform, which is also backed by offerings such as the intraday trading. For a small subscription amount, you can get the intraday trading throughout the year, along with zero account opening fee and low brokerage on delivery trades. Apart from that, we also have something called as Happy Day on days, specific days in the month where 100% brokerage would be off. have, I spoke about the robust trading platforms. We have several platforms on the app as well as on the terminal. So in terms of research prowess, it is well spoken of, and you would, have heard a lot about Kotak Institutional as well as Kotak Institutional. Now, apart from that, on being a part of KPT, you get access to all our research, client meets, and conferences. We also get access to webinars like these and a lot of other meets as well. We want this to be a very bilateral sort of a process where you grow your knowledge and wealth along with us. So that is basically from my side. I'll just hand it over back to Kratika to introduce Gautam.
Thank you so much, Akshay. That was quite insightful. Now I'd like to introduce Gautam Shah, founder and chief strategist at Goldilocks Premium Research. Mr. Shah has over 2 decades of experience in technical research and advisory and holds multiple qualifications in the field of research, namely CMT, CFT, and MSTA with distinction. Prior to founding Goldilocks Premium Research, he spearheaded the technical research at JM Financials in the capacity of director and chief technical analyst for 15 years. Goldilocks Premium Research was adjudged as a winner in Technical Analyst Awards, London, under 3 categories: Technical Analyst of the Year, Best Emerging Market Research, Best Specialist Research. I welcome you, sir.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, I'd like you to give us some insights on the topic.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in on this hopefully relaxed Thursday. I guess many of you might be in high spirits given what has happened at the markets in the last 7 to 8 trading sessions. From doing absolutely nothing in the month of May, you have a Nifty trading above levels of 10,100. Happy to do this with Kotak. I think my association with this organization goes a long way back, because when I was fresh out of college in the year 2003, I wished to get into this organization as a trainee. Maybe I was not good enough, and today I am a speaker at your event. So better late than never, and very happy to do this. So very interesting times at the markets. I think there are a lot of questions in the minds of everyone as to what's really happening, because there has been a clear disconnect between the markets and what the economy is going through and what society in general is going through. I think we keep hearing what's happening in the US in terms of the riots, and around the coronavirus development. So there's so much happening actually, and yet not just India but the rest of the world too have done phenomenally well. I think you have most markets up about 50-60%, or have recovered 50-60% of their entire March-April fall. So through this short presentation which I have, I'll try and explain what I see going forward, and also my experiences with bear markets, because I've been in this industry for almost 20 years. So I have seen a few cycles, and it's not that those cycles are going to help you entirely, but at least it gives you an idea as to how you understand this puzzle of markets. So we'll go through the presentation, and I hope it is of value add for all of you. So I'll just start off that. So I hope you can see my screen. Yes, so let's start off with the presentation. Here I have put in my thoughts and certain charts which I feel are quite relevant in today's market environment. Some of them are quite mind-boggling. We present it to our subscribers on a regular basis, but I thought I must present this to this audience as well. So I'm not holding back anything. Whatever I feel from a medium-term, long-term perspective and some very proprietary work, I will be sharing in today's presentation. A quick disclaimer that none of this is really advice. So please do consult your financial advisor before taking any decision on the markets, and don't rely on whatever I say. So let's start with some thoughts on technical analysis. This is a field which is very vast. It's got very prominent these days because just about everybody is watching the charts, reading the charts. So I thought since everybody has a perspective, I thought let me also share some of my thoughts about technical analysis. And I do believe that the first point, which is highlighted here is technical analysis is less and less of a science. Just about everybody feels that is technical analysis a formula, and if I were to understand this formula, will I do well at the markets? The answer is no. There are hundreds and hundreds of people watching the same chart, but there is somebody who has a buy on a particular stock, say Reliance, and there is somebody who has a sell on the same stock, say again Reliance. So I think it's not a science anymore that you have a formula and if you were to use it, you will do well at the markets. It requires a lot of back testing. It requires a lot of experience. And I see a lot of people getting into technicals with partial knowledge, which I think can be extremely dangerous, and more so given what is happening at the markets in today's times. So please do keep that in mind. The second point I have here is timing has become more and more important in the current market environment. I have seen the 2003 2007 bull cycle. I saw the 2013 2017 bull cycle. No wonder, no doubt that a lot of people in the market made a fortune in those phases. But let's realize that phase has come and gone. I think there is a possibility going forward that you might not see a trend for many months to maybe even a couple of years. So are you prepared? Are you prepared, to handle a market which does not trend up or down for a long period of time? And that's probably the reason I think timing has become extremely crucial in today's environment. I think a great example is what has happened with ITC and HUL in the FMCG space. If somebody timed HUL really well, if the shift would have happened on the long side, you would have done very well for your portfolio. On the other hand, a stock like ITC has been such a big underperformer in the last 1.5 years. So timing is critical. Stocks go through their own trends. I think Reliance is a great example. Today, everybody is talking about Reliance. But let me remind you, there was a time a few years back where the market did well, but Reliance was quite in a band, and it happened for almost 4 or 5 years. And I got so many questions, from our clients, that why is Reliance not doing well when the market has done so well? But the stock never moved. And today, you have the exact opposite because this stock has taken leadership. And that's probably the reason I think timing takes a center stage. And I think a lot of people who manage money purely based on fundamentals too understand the same. And that's the reason why they are getting into technical analysis. Not much difference between a doctor and a technician. Please choose your technician wisely. There are hundreds of doctors out there. There are hundreds of lawyers out there. But you go to one or two, right? If you were to move to 3 or 4 doctors and try to take advice, it's going to be haywire. So please choose your technician wisely. Have a look at the track record. I think the integrity is a very, very important aspect that you need to look at. The track record, as I said, is extremely important. So please do that wisely, because that's going to, at the end of the day, lead to the kind of returns that you make in the markets. Technical analysis helps capture major market cycles. Buy and hold investing not so rewarding anymore. I'm not in the Warren Buffett camp who believes that if you buy stocks and hold it forever, you will do well. Yeah, I know that this concept worked very well in the last 10-15 years, but I think you are in a different world altogether, such a dynamic world, such a complex world. And in this kind of an environment, a great example is what happened in 2013 and 2017. There were so many stocks that went up 5x, 7x, 10x in that period. And that very stock lost 80% in value in the last couple of years. So if somebody advised you to sell right at the top or close to the top, you would have been better off. And I don't think many people in the market can digest, a fall of 70% from the top after having seen the stock go up 5x, 7x, 10x. And that's probably the reason I feel that over the next couple of years or maybe more, buy and hold investing is not going to be rewarding anymore. You have to look at themes and you have to look at opportunities from time to time. Combining chart analysis with fundamentals and flows, I think a sure shot winner over the longer term. I am in that camp who believes that you should not just look at fundamentals or just technicals. If you can just combine these 2 or 3 factors, it can really do well for yourself. And that's what we do at Goldilocks. We try and combine a little bit of hope of both, and I think that helps us stay on the right side of things on the most times. Chart analysis is meaningless without risk management. You could have the best advisor, you could have news flow, you could have news from God himself, but unless you have the risk management in place, you cannot make serious money in this market. And I keep giving this example of the seatbelt to everybody. when you enter a car and you're about to drive, the first thing you do is use a seat belt, so that if at all there is an accident, that very seat belt helps you, saves your life. I think very similarly, a stop loss or a risk management strategy at the markets is almost like a seat belt. You need to always strap it to yourself, and if you do that, this market will not take serious money out of you. And the reason I make this point is because in the last couple of years, there are so many fundamentally strong stocks, so-called fundamentally strong stocks, which have just lost 40, 50, 60, 70%, just like that, despite still having the numbers behind them. So I think if you had this seatbelt on, you could have got out very easily. And I would strongly recommend each and every one of you to have this strong risk management in place. Technical analysis helps you gauge greed and fear without a bias. I think you need to stay ahead of the curve, because I think today it's all about discounting. How much is the market discounting into the future? Right now the talk is, no, India, the equity markets are discounting into what will happen in 21 and 22. I think that's not the right way to understand, because we don't know what's going to happen in 2 months. How do we know what's going to happen next year or year after that? But obviously the markets are discounting, at least in the for the near term, and it's expecting that things will get better, and that's probably the reason you are at an index of 10,100 today. And the final point in this slide, charts are never wrong, the analysis is. I think you cannot get egoistic with the market, you cannot get stubborn with the market. You need to come with an open mind. History can help you to a certain extent, but not all the time. So as I always say, charts are never wrong. If you think that something is not moving in line with your expectations, please reanalyze, and I'm sure you'll come out with a better outcome. Now let's quickly get into some of the learnings, some of my learnings over the last 20 years. I've just collated it with about 7 or 8 points, and I'll elaborate on that. So the first point is, weak can get weaker to the point of disbelief. I think people who haven't seen 2008, or who haven't seen markets in the earlier periods, or the bear markets in the earlier periods, would not know that stocks can indeed fall 70, 80%. And I think a stock like Yes Bank is such a wonderful example, because with every falling rupee, there was this belief that, okay, it can't go lower. And why Yes Bank? Take the example of Tata Motors. It can't get lower. It just kept going lower and lower and lower. And at one point of time, there was disbelief that how come such a stock or such a company could be trading at such levels. So do keep that in mind. Do not fight the trend unless there is a confirmation after a bear market that things are reversing. Do not catch a falling knife. I think this is still very relevant in today's times, and I think you need to really practice it going forward. The market moves up the stairs and falls off the elevator. I think a great example is what has happened in the last 3 months. And if you really combine that with what has happened in the last 2.5 years, it took so much time for the indices to go up, say 40, 50, 60%. And it just took 6 weeks for the indices to come off 40%. And as we say, that this is the fastest bear market India has ever seen. So it's quite crazy, and that's probably the reason you cannot look back into history to understand the markets. And this will keep happening. The recoveries will be, gradual, but the falls will be by way of an elevator. So you have to be prepared, for the same. There is always a point when fundamentals, logic, and common sense become meaningless. I think at the depths of any bear market, this is what happens. You just let go of fundamentals. I remember the last week of March, if somebody spoke to you about fundamentals, that the book value or the P ratio of this company is this, and therefore you should be a buyer, you would not have heard that person at all. And this is what markets do to you, and this is what bear markets do to you. And this will keep repeating itself, because greed and fear is here to stay. It is always there in our minds. So when fundamentals, logic, and common sense become meaningless, is when bear markets typically bottom out. I remember I was on one of the media channels in the last week of March, and I said that people are losing their minds. You should be a buyer in this market. This is a great opportunity. That time it might have seemed a little illogical, but since then, from a 7,500 index, you are today trading at 10,000, 10,100 levels. So this will keep repeating itself. and you cannot lose a track of the same. Resistance levels work brilliantly in bear markets. Just how support levels work beautifully in bull markets. And I think this is one small technical analysis takeaway which I can share with you, that if a stock or if a market is actually weak, every time it gets close to resistance, it will turn a little wobbly. It will start turning a little weak. And once you identify that, I think you will understand that it might still not be a good time to buy. And there are so many examples out there, because if you look at a stock like Yes Bank or a Tata Motors or a Tata Steel or many other stocks in the market, every time they have seen a recovery, the moment they test resistance, they just develop cold feet and they turn around and collapse. So this will keep repeating, and I think you need to keep this in mind as well, that so use supports closely in bull markets and use resistances in bear markets. The market is generally far ahead of the bad news, and I think I've made this point a few times on TV as well and on my Twitter channel, that the day the lockdown announcement happened, that was the day the market bottomed out at 7500. It's quite unbelievable, isn't it? Because when the markets were falling in the month of March, everybody was asking, why is India falling so much? Why is the markets cracking? Is there any bottom? But the day because everybody was fearing that what if the lockdown happened, economy will go for a toss, will the Indian markets really come off significantly? But the stock markets had discounted the possible lockdown development, in that very period of late February and March. And the day the announcement of the lockdown happened, you have a bottom in place, and from there, despite the news flow being bad, you have the markets going up significantly. This will keep repeating itself, and I will share with you some very interesting examples as we go ahead in this presentation. History does not and need not repeat itself, and there is always a new bear market around the corner. I see so many people in the last 1.5 months coming up with visuals that, okay, this happened in 2008, this happened in 2000, this happened in 1987 or 1929, and this should happen now. Believe me, that doesn't work. The market is too clever, the market is stubborn. The moment we latch onto something, it will go on and do something completely different. So history does repeat, technical analysis is based on that, but it rhymes, it will repeat in different ways. And I think the fact that we've seen the fastest bear market in history, I think explains that very well in detail. Human tendency is to fight the outperformers in a bear market. I get calls from so many people, even on the social media and from our subscribers, that this stock has not gone down, so should we sell it? Actually, the reverse should happen. Please do not fight the outperformers in the bear market. Get over this thought process, because human tendency makes us sell or short stocks, which have been steady. But that's the exact opposite you must be doing. You have to stay with the losers. If you have to play the bear market, if you have to make serious money in the bear markets, and it's believe me, it's much easier than bull markets, you have to stay with the losers. I mean, there have been great examples. If somebody, for example, kept shorting a HUL while the markets fell, and somebody did not sell an ITC because they thought that, valuation wise, it is better placed. I think the outcome is out there for all of you to see. So this will keep repeating itself. Outperformers in the bear market are the ones you shouldn't be fighting. In fact, those are the names you should look at on the long side. The three studies which I use, in technical analysis, you have multiple studies. There are so many people using exotic stuff, but at Goldilocks and myself, given my experience, I like to use very simple stuff, and I believe that simple stuff works really well at the markets. So I think the three tools which I really use and are very applicable in bear markets is the concept of relative strength, moving averages, and Dow theory. And I'll get into these aspects a little later in this presentation. But this is one takeaway, because I know a lot of people who wants to use oscillators or Elliott wave or volume studies. But my experience tells me that if you get a hang of these three studies well, you've actually done well for yourself. Avoid multiple in and outs. Bear markets are getting very complex, and therefore straight line moves are difficult. I see a lot of people, making a little bit of money, then coming out, and then waiting for another opportunity to sell. That never happens. I think for so many stocks in the last 6 weeks, For example, you shorted, you made 3, 4, 5% in a short span of time and you exited, but thereafter the opportunity never came by. So avoid getting in and getting out too often. It will only lead to entertainment, it will only lead to excitement. You might get some opportunities here and there, but the big money is made when you stay in certain trends, and stay. And I will share a certain tools which can actually help you do that. So this is another point which I thought I should highlight. Next, let's get into some charts. I have about a few takeaways to share with you all. And for anybody who's never looked at the chart, this is how a chart looks like. This is a chart of Nifty. These lines, these bars that you can look at is basically the price action. And this is a 17-year chart of the Nifty. I know a lot of people these days are watching 5-minute charts, but I'm slightly old school, and therefore I like to use longer term charts. So this is a 17-year chart, and this was a time when the Nifty was at 1,000, and this is a 12,000 Nifty. So this is the entire journey of Nifty since 2003. Doesn't it look beautiful? Now, what is important to understand is that in this journey, you've had 3 bear markets. It happened in 2008, as you can see here. It happened in 2011, and it happened in 2015. If you remember, Modi ji came to power in 2014. There was this big rally, and thereafter, the market sold off almost 25%. And at one point of time, it got very scary. I remember in early 2016. So 3 major bear markets have come. But the point which I'm trying to make here is that the market has spoilt us in believing that after every bear market, the indices will rebound and go back and make new highs. Now, if you go back to the textbooks, this is not what should happen. You need the market to consolidate a lot more, before it can actually get back on track. But here, in the last 17 years, we have actually not seen a theoretical bear market. I think that's the sad part. And every time a correction happens, people feel, I'm a long-term investor, I will stay with it, the rate will come. Where will the rate go? That's the attitude which I see for a lot of people. But no, this what we are witnessing right now might just be a theoretical bear market. And when I say theoretical bear market, it could be long drawn, wherein we see a long period of time correction and prices don't go up substantially. I know I'm saying this in an environment where the Nifty has done well, but I think one should not get carried away with the screen, because how the market has spoiled us in the last 15 years, is going to have a bearing on how we think and how we trade this particular move that's happening right now. The second takeaway again is a great example that comes from 2008. I remember I was working with JM Financial in that period. We went through a very terrible phase. This was a level of 3,000 on the Nifty. This was 6,500 on the Nifty. So it was a very large fall in a matter of 9 months. But please understand, when the Nifty bottomed out in the month of October 2008, after that, for almost 6 months, the Nifty did absolutely nothing. Can you see the circle which I've presented here? For 6 months, the market did nothing. Now, this is what I mean is the consolidation you need before a bear market can end and a bull market can start. So I very well remember in this period of October to March, there was so much confusion whether the market will go and break its 2000 lows, 2008 lows, or how bad will it get. But the Nifty did not break the lows, it did not break the highs. If you can see here, it simply stayed sideways in a band, and thereafter in the month of March 2009, you had the breakout, and from there, obviously we saw a great run. So from a level of 2800, the Nifty tested a level of 5500 in a matter of 6 to 9 months. So this is a characteristic which I always want to see, when bear markets end and when bull markets start. I know so many stocks in the market that fall and then just rebound in a V-shaped manner. Usually those trends are not sustainable. So please do keep that in mind and watch for such setups, not just on the indices, but on specific stocks. The next chart, I take you back to the year 2000. I hope many people who've joined in today are people who have seen this period of 2000, 2003. I was a trainee in the markets at that point of time, and I actually went through this entire phase where the Nifty was at 1750. This is February 2000. I'm sure people remember the dot-com bubble. And this is September 2001 when the bottom happened at an index level of 850. The key takeaway from here is that markets bottom out on bad news. Never does it happen that you have good news on the screen or favorable news on the screen and the market starts to do well. It never happens. And I think a great example is what happened in September 2001. I'm sure people remember the September 11 attacks. Obviously, when that happened on September 11, the thought process was, is the world coming to an end? Are we getting into a sort of a World War III? But after September 11, on the 21st of September, the president, the United States decided that it's going to attack. The world went into a tizzy. And the day the attacks were announced is when India and rest of the world bottomed out. And I'm showing you that chart. This is exactly the period when that announcement was made, and that was the lowest level of the last 20 years. So expect the markets to bottom out. I know it doesn't go with our psyche, but that's what you need to expect. And I think a great example was again recently when on the 25th of March, the Prime Minister announced the lockdown, which was clearly a terrible news for the economy. But yet the Nifty did bottom out. So these are learnings, which help me understand the trends or cycles in the markets that play out from time to time. And believe me, they will keep repeating themselves. There will be many tools and technicals which will come and go. There will be many tools and fundamentals that will become redundant. But this understanding of sentiment, I think, is very important because that will really help you make a fortune at the markets. The next chart talks a little bit about technical analysis, and here I present to you the concept of Dow theory. I guess many of you who are logged in today would be knowing some about technical analysis, and there are some people who might not know anything. But I just like to keep it very simple always. So when you climb up the stairs, when you go up from ground floor to first floor, what you do is you take one step higher every step, right? And that's exactly what the Nifty has done in the last 10 years. So this is 2009 for you. This is a 2500 Nifty, and this is 12,500 Nifty. So in the last 10 years, what a phenomenal run we've had. The market has just made higher tops and higher bottoms. Can you see these lines? So this is a higher top, bottom, and this is continued. Now, what you will notice is that at any point of time in the last 10 years, the previous bottom was never violated. So actually, somebody who entered into the markets long term at 2500, based on simple technical analysis, there was no reason to get out until a level of 10,500. Now, why I say 10,500 is because it was the last major bottom that we saw last year. You remember the corporate tax cut announcement that led to this recovery from around 10,600. So that was the last major bottom, and once this bottom level was broken, you had this major fall coming in. So this sequence of higher tops and higher bottoms has been violated for the first time in 10 years a couple of months back. And that's probably the reason I have maintained the stance that what is happening right now is a relief rally in a bear market. Do not comprehend it in such a way to believe that all is well once again. No, I think this bear trend is going to take a lot more time. You will have short, sharp relief rallies from time to time, but I think they will get sold into. And I will get to the mid-cap side of things a little later. Another very interesting tool which I like to use is the moving averages. Now, what I've done here is, this is a monthly chart of the Nifty, again on a 10-year time frame, and I have used a very simple moving average. I hope many of you understand the concept of averages. If not, please read through it, and then you can always get back and go through this presentation at leisure later. Now, here what I've done is, I have plotted the 13-day moving average and the 30-day moving average because I like to use this combination. And 10 years back, in the year 2009, you had a crossover. When I say crossover, it means the short-term average pierces the long-term average from below. Okay, this happened at a level of 4,000, and from this level, not once in the last 10 years was this combination pierced. Okay, so you've had 3 bear markets in between, but never was this level pierced. Can you see this here? The blue line is the short-term average, never did it go below the red line. Okay, so this is the kind of analysis we do at Goldilocks. I'm a big fan of long term, because I believe that you can make a serious money only if you have a slightly longer time frame. So for 10 years, this particular study which I use help you stay in the game. And now you are at a scenario where this cross is just about to happen. We are right there, and if this cross were to happen, it will tell you that this entire 10-year trend could have come to an end. So I thought I must present this to you because it is quite mind-boggling to look at. Another study which I like to use, and I want to give you a very different perspective. People who understand technicals will get this really nicely. I like to use the RSI indicator. Now, RSI is a very popular indicator. Everybody likes to use it. I have my own way of using it because I've used it for almost 2 decades now. And I'm almost friends with RSI. So I just know, how it behaves at certain times. But what I've noticed, what has happened right now, and if I really compare it with previous bear markets, what is interesting to note is that in all previous bear markets, we've had 3 bear markets. This is the RSI indicator, the red line. This blue line here is the overbought line, and this is the oversold line. Now, in the previous bear market of 2000, 2003, it took 2 years on the monthly chart for the RSI to go down from overbought to oversold. Okay. If you look at the other 2 instances, it took 1 year or 4 quarters for it to move from overbought to oversold. But what has happened in the last 3 months is mind-boggling, because it's taken 1 quarter for the same study to come down from overbought to oversold. Now, there are 2 things to this. One is the good thing. The good thing is that the damage has been so large and it has been so sharp that the market is already very oversold. So you cannot expect a very long drawn correction from current levels because the monthly charts are already oversold. Now, had this not happened, you would have believed that clearly there is more room for correction. But because this has happened, it tells a story. And that's probably the reason we have seen the fastest bear market in history. And how indicators adjust to such happenings, I think, is very important. So this one indicator, is something which I thought I must highlight. And I think there is a good side to this, to the happenings of this move. Let's get to the mid caps. I think I like to use the relative strength study. Do not confuse it with the RSI. This is the relative strength comparative. I have spoken about it at previous webinars as well. Now, the big talking point is the damage in the mid caps and the small caps in the last couple of years. So many stocks lost 60, 70, 80%. In fact, the mid cap index is down about 60%, if I'm not wrong. So had somebody told you at the right time that please get out of mid caps, stay in the large caps, it is this study, this very study of relative strength told you that. Because if you see here, this is the relative strength chart of mid cap index over the Nifty. And this is the breakdown, the circle which I have marked here, which happened at a level of 20,000 on the mid cap index. And this in technical terms, we call a reversal pattern which had taken place. So after a 5-year outperformance of mid caps over the Nifty, please hear this carefully. For 5 years, the mid caps outperformed the Nifty, and then this breakdown happened. It gives you an indication that the mid caps are now going to take a back seat and the large caps are going to take over. So at 20,000, you had this signal, and from 20,000, you had the mid cap index almost testing a level of 10,000, in the month of March. So these very simple triggers can help you allocate your money the right way, and that's exactly what we do at Goldilocks. To present such charts to people so that they can, manage their portfolios in a much better way. And here I'm not presenting any rocket science. It's probably the simplest form of analysis that you can go through. The next takeaway is a trading system. Now, this is a takeaway for you all. I see a lot of people spending thousands and lakhs of rupees subscribing to services, subscribing to softwares, subscribing to holy grail setups which are marketed by so many people on the social media, and the markets are getting more and more complex. Now, this is a free tool, free trading system which I'm actually sharing with you. And again, this is the simplest form of analysis. So what I've done is I've used again a 13-day moving average and a 30-day moving average on the weekly chart. And in the last 1.5 years, which you will agree has been one of the more difficult times, Whenever a crossover happens between a 13-day and the 30-day, you simply buy, and whenever the crossover happens on the downside, you simply sell. Now, there have been just 6 signals in the last 1.5 years, but in every signal, you would have got at least 10 to 15% on the Nifty. I'm sure you would be happy for that, right? Why do you want to trade for 1% or 2% every day? Why you want to trade for 100, 200 bank Nifty points every day? You can simply use this tool. And as you can see here, this signal here gave you a buy, gave you a buy, gave you a sell, gave you a buy. And this signal right at 12,000 gave you a sell. And it's only now, 1 week back, that you have a buy signal at a level of 9,300. So this works very well. The day this does not work, we will look for something else. So please don't spend your hard-earned money on buying softwares or doing these many of these mentorship programs. They can help you to a certain extent, but as the saying goes, you can take the horse to the pond, you cannot make it drink. So it's never easy. And I thought probably this is the first time I'm giving out something on a public platform, and I think you can use it, and please test it out, not just for the bank Nifty, not just for the Nifty bank Nifty, but even for stocks. And I'm sure it will help you in the long run. And if it works for you, or if you have any query, you can always directly connect with us. Last two charts in this segment, I think gold, I must highlight it, is because I have been super bullish on gold for the last 6 months. I think I have had debates with many people from the community when people said that no, gold will not do well for various reasons. But I maintain my stance, because let's not forget, gold was at a level of $1,920. This is 2011. It came off to a level of $1,050. So that's a massive fall which happened in gold over a 3-year period. After that, the example which I gave earlier, if you remember, gold got into a range for almost 2 years. This is exactly what you want to see, when certain commodities or stocks go through bear markets and end bear markets. So after this consolidation, you had the breakout at 1350. This is the level where we actually turned bullish. And from 1350, we have seen a level of 1750, and it is still looking very strong. So I don't see gold stopping. Anyway, in today's market environment, with what's happening in the US, and given all that's happening in the world, so many factors, I think gold will continue to do well. Last 2 weeks it was a little quiet, maybe because because equity markets did well. But I believe that over the medium term, 1800 and 1920 is coming on gold, and every small decline, I think, is a buying opportunity. The last chart, which I am giving you as a takeaway, is to beware of vertical moves. There are so many stocks in the market that move non-stop. Without really naming this stock, if you can just see, what happened was the stock started moving from a level of 10, and it hit a level of 2,500. So if this was a moving bus, if you got in at any point of time, you would have made money. Money was made so easily in some of these stocks, and this, I go back to the early 2000s. I think this is a great template and an example for many stocks which have seen price destruction in the last few years. The same stock which moved from 10 to 2,500 came back to a level of 10 rupees today. And this example which I'm sharing with you is Himachal Futuristic. Why this is important is that because you need to learn from history, and any stock that moves up vertically without seeing consolidation, is a suspect. And there are so many names that I can give you that has happened in the last 2 years which have come off. So please be very, very careful in such names. Always think as if you are a sort of a runner. If you're running a race, you need to keep having sips of water if you're running a marathon from time to time. And if that doesn't happen, it is a suspect that it will collapse. So these charts, these stocks will keep coming from time to time. I don't want people who have logged in to hear me today to get stuck in such names. Look for setups which are clean, which go through period of consolidation from time to time, and I think that will really help in the wealth creation process. Now let's get to the current market scenario. I just have a few charts here where I want to point out some very important aspects of the current market, because I'm sure this will interest a lot of you. This is the chart of the Nifty. This is a daily chart, and May was a very difficult month for the markets because you could not have shorted with confidence. You could not have gone long with confidence. I'm sure people remember the economic package when it came out. There was so much euphoria. but I was very, very clear, and we put it out in our reports, that the economic package news will not help the markets go higher. In fact, after the news, the Nifty came back to test a level of 9,000 and below. In fact, it tested a level of 8,800. But what was actually happening was that the market was in this downward sloping channel. Can you see this? This is very simple to understand. So this is the entire month of May. You had this downward sloping channel. The market was simply buying time in this channel. Bank Nifty collapsed while this happened, but the Nifty was rock steady. It did not see momentum on the downside. And people who have heard me on TV might have realized that I made the point that if the Nifty closes below 8820, we are in for trouble. So I was actually watching this particular channel, but thereafter, 7 days back, the Nifty took out this channel on the upside above the level of 9300, and that was the point we realized that this market is actually strong and not weak. And once this breakout happened at 9300, what we do is something very similar. This is basically the resting phase of the bulls. You had the initial rally, you had the market consolidating, and then you had this breakout. So I'm basically taking the distance from here to here, and if I plot it from here, it comes to about 10,700 odd. So this rally which is happening right now has the potential to take the Nifty towards 10,700 plus minus 100 200 points. And I think this is as clean as it can get, and this is as simple as it can get. So I hope I have been able to present you the logic as to why I feel the market is headed higher in the near term, and this is just one aspect. I think there are many other aspects which I can share, but then due to shortage of time, I will not get into that. The second chart is the Bank Nifty. Now, this interests a lot of people, but please realize what has happened to the Bank Nifty in the last 2.5 months. People who see the charts will get this better. So the Bank Nifty was like a pendulum, in this band of 17,100 on the downside and 21,300 on the upside. And it simply traded in this band for the last 2.5 months. So you had this one hit here, came back, again moved higher, again came back in the last week of May, and again in the last 7 days, it is back and it has corrected exactly from that level of 21,300. So this keeps happening, and this is a range which has been set for the Bank Nifty. But now, if and when a breakout above 21,300 happens, it will actually open up a rise towards a level of 23,500. And I think I made a point sometime back that because the Bank Nifty rally is looking better, the entire market is looking very, very good right now. I made this point today on CNBC as well. So Bank Nifty for now is in this range. It is an underperformer. Medium-term charts are still weak, but the near-term triggers are positive, and it tells me that a possible breakout beyond 21,300 is coming. If that happens, you have to be prepared for 22,500 and then eventually 23,500. So these very clean, crisp kind of charts, give you a lot of idea. Another point which I missed explaining was the fact that Bank Nifty was at a level of 32,000. From 32,000, it came off to a level of 16,000. That's a 50% drop in a matter of 6 weeks. If you read books of technical analysis, or if you go through what some of the greats in this field have said, everybody says that when a bear market happens, a stock or the index can lose 60%, 50% over a period of many months to many years. But here you have a 50% drop in a matter of 6 weeks. And because the fall has been so large, we should not expect the Bank Nifty to collapse immediately. There are some very large stocks. Yes, it is still weak, but it will go through its consolidation. It will go through a recovery process. But eventually, I think the Bank Nifty will respect this range. So this is what I want to leave you with on the Bank Nifty, and we will watch 21,300 in the coming week. The third chart is on pharma. This has been the talking point. It has sort of become a crowded trade. People who've heard me on TV or have read my reports would know that I was probably one of the earlier people, to talk about bullishness in the pharma space almost 4 months back, because we had signals on the charts. This is a 13,500 level on the pharma index, and this is 6,500. So that's a huge drop over a period of 3 years. Now, at this point, you had some indication at 8,500 that the pharma recovery is here to stay. Now, there is something very interesting which happened on the RSI. Now, the RSI indicator through this entire bear market did not go into the oversold zones. So this was a precursor that pharma is coming back. It is likely to be very, very strong. And when the RSI gives you such a wonderful indication on the weekly and on the monthly charts, it leads to serious wealth creation. And now everybody is running after pharma, even though I do believe that it will see further upside. But these are signals you could not have ignored. And I keep saying this is the kind of work that we like to do, because such big opportunities can come and go, or will keep coming and going. You have to spot them early, not when the media starts talking about it. The second chart is again on pharma. So here what has happened is you've had this massive bear market in the pharma index, as you can see. And what I've simply done is I've put one line below, one line above, made this channel. And this channel breakout had happened a month back around the level of 9,000. Now, what happened last month during the correction, the pharma index found support exactly at 9,000. And from there, we've seen this recovery. So in terms of targets, where do I see this index? I think if you have to look into it from many months perspective, the first target is around 10,700. We have been working with this. And the eventual target is as high as 13,200. So that's possibly 25% upside from current levels in a difficult and challenging market environment. So there are a lot of positives to the pharma index right now. It is our favorite. I could have got into other sectors and would have explained you, but I thought this is one theme which is here to stay. So I must present the logic as to why I like this sector going forward. The final takeaway or the final chart from a market's perspective is what's happening in the mid caps. I think the question which a lot of people ask is this a bear market? Should I be selling? I'm scared. Market has already gone up. I haven't participated. Should I buy now? Irrespective of what the Nifty does, I think the mid cap index, a large part of it would have bottomed out in the month of March. So I think Nifty and large caps, I cannot say with confidence because I don't have the evidence, but the mid caps, just based on this one simple chart, gives me the confidence that there is a massive rally which is coming, or a recovery which is coming, and it's going to carry on for many months and possibly many years. So there is a fortune making opportunity in the mid cap and the small cap space. Please do not watch visual media and get carried away with day-to-day moves. It will not help you. The market will be volatile, the news flow will be bad, but if you stay in the right stocks and just hold on to it, believe me, you will end up making 2x, 3x, 5x in many stocks from current levels. And the names of those stocks are right there. You can look at the top 100, top 150 stocks in the mid cap index. Just to quickly explain this chart, so this was a 15,500 mid cap index. This is last October, and this is 11,000, the recent low on the mid cap index in the month of March. Now, you can understand that this was a very big fall, 15.5 to 11,000. But on the RSI, or this is actually the relative strength chart, on the RSI versus the Nifty, the index, the indicator did not go below this line. So this was a clear indication that there is outperformance against the Nifty, and the mid caps are itching to go up. And I think with what has happened in the last 10 days, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think you are going to see much greater recovery ahead, because this line which is here, the relative strength chart of mid cap over the Nifty, is only going to go higher and higher. And at some point of time, I see it testing a level of 1.51. And when that happens, you sell into mid caps. Otherwise, please be a buyer on every decline. Ignore the Nifty. If you see the Nifty, if you see the bank Nifty, you will never be able to buy stocks in the banking in the mid cap space. So that's one important takeaway for you all. To conclude, well, I think some concluding remarks here. In today's complex, dynamic, and disruptive world, old school understanding of markets is redundant. I think everybody's wanting to understand markets based on history. That's not going to help. India has not seen a theoretical bear market in 17 years, the point which I made earlier. This move which is happening has the evidence of being one. So there is a possibility that you might not test 11.5, 12,000 for many months, and you might not go down also for many months. So if there is a period of time correction wherein the Nifty just stays in a range, I think that's the best thing that you can go through. Nifty is not the market. Everybody wants to believe that is the Nifty the market. If it's going up, market is doing well. No, staying in the right pockets is going to lead to long-term wealth creation. And please understand, in the last 3 years, it was all about index investing. If you invested in the index, you did well. Next 3 years, it's not going to be about index investing. It's going to be about stock and sectors investing. And I think that's going to lead to alpha, as a lot of fund managers call it. And we at Goldilocks try and do that. India and the world is dealing with risks which never seemed a concern. A well-diversified portfolio is important. You know, who would have thought coronavirus, developments would happen? Who would have thought about these riots which are happening in the US? Who would have thought about this cyclone that just hit Calcutta and Bombay? And then now there are talks about the asteroid which is going to hit planet Earth. There are crazy things, which we never thought can be issues, but they are issues. We have to deal with them. And therefore, a well-diversified portfolio across countries and across asset classes is what you want to have. And that's really going to help you in the long term. I think the real opportunity lies in the broader markets, the point which I made. Think long term. I think a fortune making opportunity exists if you have a slightly 2-year, 3-year, 5-year kind of a time frame. Which sectors do we like? We've pointed it out many times. Pharma, oil and gas, Reliance, Bharti, right up there. Telecom, obviously, chemicals, insurance are some sectors where you can indulge in buy and hold. Other sectors, more of a trading opportunity from time to time, because I think markets will keep correcting based on the news flow. But these 5 spaces and mid caps, obviously, are the ones where you can indulge in buy and hold. Every time there is a correction, please top up on gold and silver. I think I remain very bullish. I see significant upside there. It gives you insurance in a difficult, complex world. And it will also help you with capital appreciation. And I think if you were to indulge in SIP investments in the mid-cap space, I think it will beat all asset classes returns over the next 1 to 3 years. So this is something I will strongly advise, because in the last 5 years, people have been doing SIP in large caps. Now do it in mid caps. I think that's where the bigger opportunity is. So with this, I will end my presentation. If you have any queries, you can mail me at gautam@goldilocksresearch.com. If you want to subscribe to my work, because whatever I've just presented is maybe 1% of what we give to our subscribers. I think goldilocksresearch.com is where you can just log into this website, see our plans, and whatever interests you, you could get back to us. This is our support number for any queries regarding Goldilocks or any other queries, 98300-35900. And if you want to follow my views on Twitter, gsha26 is my handle, so you could follow me. Just one quick line on Goldilocks. Well, we started this 6 months back. We look to capture bigger trends in the market. We don't indulge in day trading or short-term trading. We like to capture themes over many weeks to many months and help our subscribers to be on the right side of the market. I prepare a report every day morning, which is shared with all my subscribers. And we currently cater to HNIs, retail, institutional investors, some large celebrity investors, and family offices. So that's what we are. And we were recent winners at the Global Awards, are judged as the Technical Analyst of the Year, Best Emerging Markets Research, and Best Specialist Research, possibly the first Indian firm to get this recognition in about 20 years. So with this, I'll end my presentation. Thank you all for being there. If you have any queries, you can always mail us or call us on our support number. So I'll just, get back to this. Yes, I think my screen sharing has stopped. Are you there, Pratika?
Yes. So we like to ask you 1-2 questions.
Okay.
Akshay will proceed with the questions.
Yeah. Gautam, I think you've answered most of the questions. A couple of them are, regarding your views on the infra as well as NBFC space.
Well, NBFCs I wouldn't want to touch, because I think they're going through that period of time correction, the example which I gave for many of the charts. So I think this will continue for some time. I know a lot of people feel that they are, having value, but I don't think that NBFCs at this point of time give you that confidence to have value. I want to stay in stocks and sectors which actually exhibit relative strength. So some of the top banks are still okay, but NBFCs are an avoid. But gold financing companies are ones, which I really like. So that's something which I will look at. And infra, again, not too sure. The bear market in terms of price destruction has ended, that's for sure. But how long this time correction is going to continue is something that we'll have to wait and watch. So stay away for now, because the opportunity cost in this market is huge. There are so many stocks and sectors which are doing well. Stay with the winners, avoid the laggards in today's environment.
Thanks. Another one. So some of the questions, people have asked that people believe that this is a relief rally, and most of the people are sitting on cash still. So I think you have given most of the hint out there, but in case you can just summarize in a couple of lines.
Yes, I actually want to, because this has been the big question of the last couple of months, and some people have misunderstood me as well when I made the point that we are still in a bear market and we will lose ground eventually. I'm only referring to the large caps and the mainline indices. I don't think I have the confidence to say that we made a bottom at 75 for the Nifty, for the bank Nifty, and for large cap stocks. But let me tell you that 60-65% of the market has bottomed out in the month of March. So please do not stay in cash. This is a great opportunity, as I mentioned, in the broader market space, mid caps and small caps. Once you see any relative strength on the screen, go ahead, make your purchases. Ignore the Nifty. The more you keep Nifty on your screen, it will not allow you to buy. And I think you can stagger your buys from right now, because I think you could see some volatility going into the next few weeks, and that will be a good opportunity. So the simple point is, large caps avoid, trade that segment, mid caps and small caps buy and hold, and make serious money over the next few years.
Sure. Thanks, Gautam. Just one last question. I'm not sure if you can take stock-specific queries. I think there was one on ICICI GI as being one of your top conviction calls. I'm not sure if you might elaborate.
Well, I think, yeah. So insurance is a theme that we like. I think we made this point a few times. I think it is still in its nascent stage of a bull market. In the bad times, insurance stocks held up really well if you look at the top names. And now, as things are getting better, I think insurance stocks, have the potential to be a possible multi-bagger if you have a slightly longer time frame of say 3 to 5 years. So yes, the entire basket we like, but we will recommend to stay with the strongest names. I think those are the names, the two big brands out there are the ones which we like from a long-term perspective.
Thanks, Gautam. Thanks a lot. Kritika, over to you.
Thank you so much, Gautam. Thank you, Akshay. I think it was a very enriching session, quite in depth, and I'm sure our listeners would have enjoyed listening to your views, Gautam. On behalf of our participants and Kotak Securities, I'd like to thank you for taking out your time, sharing your views and insights with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wonderful being here.